Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to this edition of S.W.A.T.MMA. Today's episode is brought to you by CryptoCrewNex.com. At CryptoCrewNex.com, you'll find the latest original hoodies, t-shirts, hats, and gifts with your favorite Bitcoin and cryptocurrency designs. CryptoCrewNex.com. It's high quality, all original. Run over there and check it out right now. All right, Paul, now we got the business out of the way. Looks like you're firing up some weed here on the Smokin Weed and Talkin MMA podcast. Today we've got some Super Sour Diesel, right?
Hell yeah.
If you don't know, folks, Super Sour Diesel is a cross of two of my favorite sativas. We've got Super Silver Haze, crossed with New York Diesel. It's very cerebral, very delicious, and we're smoking on the king-size raw cones today that we were just talking about. Who puts those out, Paul?
Oh, yeah, it's made by Raw. It's basically just like a super easy way. I mean, rolling joints is always like, it's like classic, you know, like everyone pretty much should know how to roll a joint. But if you don't know, just stuff that bitch up real quick and get it moving. You know, it's one of those things where it comes with just a straw. Like, you know, just stuff it with the straw.
You pack it
twist it up, you're good to go.
Cuts down the time, makes it easier if you don't know how to roll.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Doesn't Wiz Khalifa have something to do with these?
Yeah, he's like big, like most songs he has literally said something about him, you know.
Got this W in the back of the cone.
Yep.
Here, if you're watching on YouTube, maybe you can see there's a little W in there. I don't know, I'm kind of high right now. Put it that way. There you go, Paul. But anyways, folks, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking out our show. While we're smoking this fine herb right here, we're going to be talking about the Bellator Grand Prix today. We're going to talk a bit about UFC 224 and the magical card coming up after that. That is
225,
UFC,
which is just fucking
225.
Stacked, yo. Even if you're not a big fight fan, there's a lot of names on that card that it's going to attract a lot of casuals as well as the real hardcore fans are going to see some real good fights that maybe like some of them are kind of hyped up to be something they're not, but they're definitely going to be some.
It's definitely a quality card, top to bottom. Yeah, we're going to go over some fights on there for sure. It's probably the best card we've seen in several months.
Yeah, card of the year for sure.
Well, we did just have the Bellator Grand Prix. We had the last Emperor Fedor versus former UFC champion Frank Mir.
Knocked him the fuck out.
Over a bit quicker than I was thinking it would be. That was for sure. Yeah. What about you?
It was definitely not what I was expecting. I'll tell you that. I can't believe Fedor fucking hit him with that fucking throw, yo. That was nasty.
Yeah, Mir said he got if you folks didn't see, I think it was a 48-second fight. Had a beautiful judo throw by Fedor, tossing Mir around, which afterward Mir said really embarrassed him. Got a little upset, fought a little aggressive, and he got knocked straight out. Was his undoing in the end, honestly. Absolutely, which happens a lot in fights. I mean, it's hard when your ego gets bruised, but I was surprised someone of Frank Mir's caliber should be able to get past that in a fight.
I just don't understand it either because you're you're at a point in your career where, one, you're fighting Fedor, who you should never feel any kind of shame for losing.
He's a Sambo master.
Yeah, Sambo master. Yeah, dude, crazy. And then second of all, what more do you really have to prove to people that you're getting embarrassed? You know, you're talking about a guy, Frank Mir, is literally a pioneer of the heavyweight division. Has had some of the most legendary fights. He's fucking fought everyone you can think of. Yeah, why are you embarrassed by anything at this point? You know what I mean?
He came back from that terrible motorcycle accident,
yeah,
which people thought was going to end his career totally.
It almost ended his life, dude.
I mean, practically, and he came back a different fighter, much larger. He came back a bigger dude, different fight style a little bit, you know.
Changed it up, definitely.
Changed it up, and then in these past few years...
He didn't have the volume he used to have.
These past few years, he's really worked on his boxing down at Jackson Wink. But, hearing him say that he got a little emotional in the fight was surprising to me.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me when you're at the point he is in his career where really the only fights you're accepting are kind of just legend versus legend fights, because honestly, like, who the fuck is Frank Mir gonna fight? You know, like, Frank Mir is not gonna fight any guy in the heavyweight division that is not a legend. You know, like, you're not gonna see him. Like, I want to see him fight. Like, I kind of want to see him doing like a Legends tour.
I would like
You know
that.
what I mean?
Well,
Like,
he has a non-exclusive contract with Bellator.
Yeah. Like, I'd like to see a rematch, even though the first fight was so boring, but Mirko Cro Cop, maybe a rematch there.
I'd love to see that fight, honestly. I like the whole Legends idea. Mir said he wants to have his next fight in ACB, which is interesting. I like the idea of him being, a free agent of sorts, non-exclusive contracts.
Yeah, it's kind of like boxing.
But enough about Mir. Let's talk about the winner. Let's talk about Fedor. Because his win here opens up probably the most interesting fight that they could wish for in the tournament, which is Chael Sonnen versus Fedor.
Yeah. Well, I don't really think it is, though. I think Chael's going to just wrestle him, honestly. And it's not going to be like a very interesting fight at the end of the day. I think Chael just wrestle fucks him. Honestly, that's what's going to happen.
I think you're right. To the casual fans, it's probably not going to be that interesting. I agree with you. I like Chael here for the win. I think he's going to smother him. Might be boring if you're not into that type of thing. I mean, us MMA fanatics, like pretty much any fight that comes on, it's going to show some high-level wrestling like Chael has. Mm-hmm. Although against Rampage, Chael, he tried to box up Rampage a bit. He did actually pretty good on the feet against Fat Rampage. 252 pounds in that fight was incredible. But I think if he tries to do that with Fedor, he's going to get hurt pretty bad. But Chael's a very, very smart fighter. He doesn't get a lot of credit. I don't know why.
Yeah.
He's an extremely intelligent, very cerebral guy. And I expect him to come out there with a solid game plan and just smother Fedor.
Get the W there. Do not see him standing with Fedor. It's different standing with Fedor than standing with Rampage. Just because Rampage, although he has great striking and like very powerful punches, he's not a technical striker. Fedor has technical punches.
Right.
He's gonna. There's levels to this shit at this point. Like, although they're both legends of the sport, Rampage does not have the fucking resume that Fedor does.
No, in Rampage, I mean, let's be honest. That's why I call him Fat Rampage, man. I'm not trying to dig at the guy. He's a legend, but
he's kind of just.
You got to question his not his commitment, but his want. I mean, how much is he into this? When you come into a fight at 252 pounds, coming up from light heavyweight, he's
collecting a check at this point because he's not taking any risks anymore. If you watch him fight, he's just not taking any more risks.
And he's earned the right to do that by all means. He's put it all in there.
But are people going to watch? Who knows?
But I don't find it interesting. I thought that fight was a big disappointment. I was glad Chael got the win, though. Mm-hmm. I'm really not looking forward to seeing Rampage fight again. No. No diss against him. It's just if his heart's not in it,
very similar to Rashad Evans.
It's hard for my heart to be in it.
Very similar to Rashad Evans, where they were at one. Think about 10 years ago, these guys were two of the baddest men on the planet. Like they were top, the cream of the crop. And now they're two guys that are just hanging on at this point, where it's like, yeah, you don't mind them continuing to fight, but at this point, it's kind of tarnishing their legacy because they're just collecting stupid, like, terrible unanimous decision losses and unanimous decision wins on the other side. That when they do win, they're not taking any chances. They're kind of just controlling a guy for 3 rounds and getting the nod because you can't really say they lost.
Right. These guys are, I don't want to see, speaking of Rashad, I have no desire to see Rashad get knocked out again. Rashad's an intelligent man. He's great on camera.
Rashad's at the place where he was at when Chuck fought Rashad.
Yeah.
When after he shot Rashad, everyone was kind of like, Chuck, dude, we don't want to see that again, And that's kind of where Rashad's at now.
It's true. I mean, he's fighting, we'll get to that fight later, but he's fighting, Anthony Johnson?
No, not Anthony.
No, Anthony Johnson. You can tell I just smoked some Anthony Smith. Anthony Johnson.
That'd be
a murder, wouldn't it?
That would make Dana fucking make him retire, dude.
Did you see pictures of him online recently?
Anthony Johnson. Yeah. He's fucking huge.
Good lord.
He's like 255 right now.
Jacked.
Yeah.
Jacked.
Dude, what if he goes to Ryzen? Is he
still? I wish he would.
Is he still under contract with the UFC though?
That I don't know. But anyways, looking jacked. People check it out on Instagram. He's
yeah, but back to
ridiculous.
the heavyweight.
Back to the heavyweight tournaments.
Yeah.
We got Chael versus Fedor, which is, and we both.
Yeah.
You know, most people are going to think Fedor's going to win. The casual fans, people are probably thinking we're crazy for so casually picking
Fedor's
Chael here.
past his time, but he's still getting big fights because he can compete, but he can't win the big fights. Frank Mir's not a big fight right now. He's not.
No, Frank Mir's 2-7 now in his last 9. I mean,
and you think about Chael Sonnen, although he's just really getting back into his curve and like really starting to get back to where he was a few years ago. He still never was like anything that, like Chael Sonnen was never a champion. Chael Sonnen was never anything really big. So if he wins this tournament, it's gonna kind of be his moment. You know what I mean? It's gonna finally
100%.
be his moment. And I really think that he's not gonna, just like we were talking about, in a way that older fighters aren't taking risks. Chael's not gonna take a risk of fighting Fedor on his feet. He's looking to take this title and peace out, you know?
I think you're right. It's his last chance at a really meaningful title. I mean, the closest he got was, 90 seconds away from beating Anderson Silva in the first fight, you know?
I don't
Except
really
for
think...
that triangle at the end. I mean, he was whooping the shit out of Anderson Silva those first 4 rounds straight. It's undeniable. Then he gets triangled out. Second
Yeah,
fight,
but I
of
feel like
course,
that was
his spinning back fist was
dude,
ill-advised.
and then how the fuck does he
there.
even get that Jones fight, too? That Jones
He stepped up
fight,
on short
too,
notice.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
still, like... dude.
You know, remember Jones hurt his toe in that fight?
Yeah, Jones fucked him up, though, still.
Well, yeah, but imagine if Jones had
Injury
injury DQ'd, and
Chael
Chael
got
would have
the
been
title.
champ.
Dude, that would have been something.
It
He
would have been
really
crazy.
wasn't talking much shit to John Jones.
No, he's a bit more respectful to John Jones, which he knew
Because he
John
knew
Jones
John
would whip his
Jones was
ass.
going to fuck him up.
John Jones, there's nobody.
Anderson Silva humbled him twice.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
He
much.
did. Yeah. Especially in the second round, or the second fight, excuse me.
Anderson Silva absolutely sucks. That shit was so terrible, dude. I'm sorry, dude. People love his trash talk. I feel like his trash talk is so cringeworthy, dude. It's so, like,
This reminds me of WWE or WWF
exactly.
when I was a kid.
Yep.
And when I was a kid, I thought that shit was dope.
Yeah. It's just cringeworthy at this point.
Yeah, now
You're 45 years old telling people they're fucking a jamoke and shit like that.
Jabronis.
Yeah, you fucking jabroni.
Fucking
dude.
jabronis.
Like, what the fuck
Well,
are you
I'll
doing?
give him credit, though. It blew him up. There's no denying that he made his name with his mouth.
Yeah, he's trash.
You know.
No, I'm just kidding. He's not trash. He's
a solid fighter.
He's a legitimate fighter. But I just feel like he was one of those guys who could never really get it done on the big time. He could beat he was kind of like a Donald Cerrone where earlier in his career where he could beat everybody in the top 5 but never could beat anybody in the top 2.
No, absolutely, you're right. And this is his chance now. Depending on how the other side of this bracket plays out, he has a shot to win it.
You know what's funny about Bellator though is like really after this tournament 3 of these guys aren't even in this weight class.
Right.
So like legitimately this tournament is so big for them because it's kind of like a Legends tournament. Like, you know, like everyone's kind of watching it just for the names. But at the end of the day, King Mo's not a heavyweight. Ryan Bader's not a heavyweight. Chael's not a heavyweight. Fucking Rampage shouldn't be a heavyweight.
Not a 252.
Vanderlei is not a heavyweight. Like, all these fools. No one's a heavyweight.
Do you think they're going to stay in this weight class? Like, let's
If
say
Chael
Bader,
wins the
Chael.
title, I just don't see it. Because I see the only way Chael wins this whole thing is if Ryan Bader or King Mo beats Matt Mitrione.
That's the way I see it, too. He doesn't stand a prayer against Matt Mitrione.
Matt Mitrione's just too big.
He's way too big.
It's just too big.
Way too big.
There's a difference because Matt Mitrione probably has to cut a little bit of weight to make heavyweight. Chael's fucking gonna have to bulk up continuously over the next year probably. I see this Grand Prix is not going to be over, I say, until this end of this year.
Yeah,
probably. So, like, I see Chael just kind of trying to build himself up. Probably goes into the... If he makes the final, he goes in probably about 245. But...
What did he weigh last fight? Was it 220? I'm thinking 220 or 230.
He was like, 224 or something like that.
He looked pretty good. I think 224 sounds right. He looked pretty good, but then we were having to compare him against Fat Rampage, which
That's what
just
I'm
sucks
saying.
your
It's
eyes into that.
Yeah. Rampage, I'm
I
telling
joke.
you,
I love Rampage.
it feels like he just kind of just sparred before, you know, and like
He
wasn't
obviously
really
wasn't out there working on the cardio.
Yeah, he just kind of was going through the motions, which brings it back to really how much does he want it anymore?
I don't think he does. Chael wants this
he
pretty
want
bad.
the check? Chael, yeah, I feel like Chael. This is a legacy fight for him at this point. This tournament is his legacy.
It is.
Because is everyone gonna remember Chael as the guy who always got the big fights but never could win him? Or are they gonna remember him? Oh, he couldn't really get it done in the UFC, but then when he went over to Bellator, he really showed that he's a top guy. He was just being held down by like a strong roster.
And he did it 2 weight classes above the UFC.
Because honestly, if Chael's in the UFC right now, I don't think he has a fucking chance in the light heavyweight division.
No.
If he were to come
even
back and
this
fight
sorry
in the UFC,
state of the current
even,
light
even
heavyweight
in the
division.
trash bag of a division, the light heavyweight is right now, but he can't beat Gustafsson.
No.
He can't beat Ozdemir. He can't beat Cormier. He probably can't even beat Tyson Pedro.
I really don't want to see any of those
He
fights.
can't beat Irla.
I like Chael and Bellator.
He can't beat anyone, dude.
Chael and Bellator is good.
Chael and Bellator
He should
is
be
probably
over
the
there.
smartest thing he did.
Mm-hmm.
Because really, when you look at it, the legend of Chael began before he came to the UFC. Like, he was already a big name. Like, then he was thrown.
Oh, yeah, out
into
of the WEC. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah.
The other fight coming up before that, obviously, is going to be King Mo versus Bader.
Yeah.
Who you like in that fight, Paul?
I lean towards Bader, but my heart goes like King Mo. Like, I want to see King Mo win just because I feel like he's had so much shit hold him back with injury and shit like that. And, like, I just want to see him win. Just all these guys in this tournament, bro. Like, Chael, Fedor, King Mo, even Bader. All these guys, like, this is such a legacy kind of tournament at this point. Because whoever comes out of this is going to be, like, the guy for Bellator, like, ratings-wise. You know what I mean? No one really knows their lower-level guys, like Aaron Pico. They just see him on these bigger cards. But whoever wins this is going to be the face of the company.
Definitely, for the foreseeable future.
Unless Fedor wins, and then what if Fedor wins this tournament?
Oh,
Then he really can't. He really solidifies his like hold of like.
The
I don't
GOAT?
want to say he's a GOAT because
It's hard.
he's the greatest of all time outside of the UFC.
There you go.
Is what I'd say is.
And I think during his era, I mean, this is certainly not what I would call his era now. But
It's
during
just
his
strange
era, you could make a
because-
GOAT. You know, during his 10-year unbeaten streak.
My only knock on him is when he was in Strikeforce and he fought a lot of guys that were top level UFC fighters. Those are the fights he lost.
Yes.
That's my only knock on him. That's why I say he's the greatest
Look
of
at
all
fucking
time
Verdun,
outside the UFC. Because although they were Strikeforce fights, I include the fights he lost to UFC fighters as part of the UFC.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that's
so
legit.
those guys, I don't know, man. It's just tough. It's tough. 'Cause, like, he lost to Bigfoot Silva, dude. Like, come on.
Fucking Bigfoot Silva. And there's no way you could possibly think that Fedor could beat Stipe right now.
No fucking way.
It wouldn't be competitive.
No fucking way right now. Maybe in his prime, but no fucking way.
Yeah, you can make arguments about prime versus prime, but it would be murder. Stipe would annihilate him.
Because Stipe would annihilate Matt Mitrione right now. Matt Mitrione
Absolutely.
handled Fedor.
Of course, Stipe, strong arguments there for the GOAT, especially if he beats Cormier. We'll see. We'll be getting to that.
I don't know. I can't give him that yet. We'll talk about that later.
So you're leaning Bader, King Mo, but you want King Mo to win as a fan.
I want King Mo to win this
Your
fan.
heart's with Mo, but
Bader's probably going to get the nod.
Bader's coming around quite a bit here. He's always, I think, been better than he got credit for in the UFC.
Well, he'll be the champ if he wins this tournament.
He will be the champ of Bellator. It's pretty impressive. You think he vacates one?
No.
No, I think he'll defend both.
Yeah, because
That'd be interesting.
I feel like he could stay at like 235 and be able to like fluctuate between each weight class. Because he's one of those guys that like he's not too small for heavyweight, but he's not big enough to really be as big as everyone else. Kind of like how Fedor is. You know how like he's like
he's in that in between space.
Kind of how like just like Rampage. You know, like where he shouldn't fight heavyweight, but he can fight heavyweight, you know? It's kind of how Conor is at 170, you know?
Right. Bellator would need something like that too, I think.
Yeah, champ, dude, that'd be intense.
So their ratings have been in question here since the change to Paramount Network. Or it's got some people questioning the future of Bellator.
I think the name change, like everyone's calling for, I think that needs to happen.
Well, part of the problem, I believe, is
Well,
that
what do you change it to?
Paramount Network attracts a different viewership than Spike did. Spike was a male-oriented channel. Paramount is a little bit more split between male and female demographics, and they're not flocking.
It's
new
very
viewers
similar
aren't
still,
flocking to Bellator. I mean, they got about 500,000 on this last one, but the prior show got like 220,000
I just don't see them
viewers,
pushing their like big stars. Like, why is Michael Venom Page not fought for their title yet? Why is there so many guys like who aren't? They're not pushing anyone. I mean, I hate to use that term because that's kind of like a WWE thing. You know, you give a guy a push. But no, it's like you kind of got to do that in MMA too. You kind of got to put a face out there. You give them some fights where you're like, all right, get your name going. You know, like we believe in your talents. Kind of like how Conor McGregor was. You know, like we believe in you. We're gonna set you up with the right opponents. Not the right opponents as in easy opponents, but the right guys to build you some names.
Sure.
And I feel like they just haven't done that with Michael Venom Page. He's fought all nobodies.
Well, some would argue that's because he's not ready to fight people at higher skill level, but
he's a fucking beast.
You know, he's a fucking beast.
And he's fucking getting old now, and it's pissing me off because it's like he still has not gotten his chance. He's like, what, 28 now?
Yeah, he's getting close to his prime. But well, this begs a question. I'll ask it since you brought it up. Who is the face of Bellator MMA right now?
Ryan Bader.
Do you think that anybody knows who Ryan Bader is outside of people like you and me? Like, if we went out on the street, on the strip right now, and be like, have you ever heard of Ryan Bader? MMA. If we told him, MMA fighter Ryan Bader. If we said Bellator fighter Ryan Bader, would they even know what that is?
Possibly because of his UFC past. He fought John Jones, so
he did?
Your casual MMA fan might still know his name.
So they're still banking on the UFC name.
Yeah, pretty much. Because it's just because what he's had 2 fights in Bellator.
That's it. I mean, some might say Rory McDonald, but again, he hasn't had enough fights yet. Okay, and those are what?
Roy's had 1 fight.
Why do people know who they are? They came from the UFC.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like at some point,
I guess Fedor.
Fedor.
Like Fedor, maybe Chill. It's all depends on like who you're talking about. Like, you know, because sure, there's guys who have been in that company like Lima and King Mo that have constantly like been there. Like McGeary, like all these guys that were like there before all these UFC guys got there, but they're really not the face at the end of the day. They're still, I don't know. There's like a divide. You know what I mean? Like the UFC guys versus non-UFC guys. Like everyone's trying to beat the UFC guy to get the title. You know, like everyone has to like right when they're coming in, they're automatically getting title shots and like Benson Henderson's gotten what 3 title shots.
Something ridiculous like that.
Like, and he's lost
2
like
for sure.
He's lost like 4 of his last 5.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, come on.
Well, so Bellator's banking heavy on, you know, this tournament then to help them.
Yeah.
To
This
get that
tournament's
boost that
everything
they need.
for them, dude.
But they got to get behind this winner and really, like we were talking about earlier, get out there and push them.
For real.
A name change might help them, might hurt them. Those are, you know, marketing questions. I've always thought the name Bellator sucked, but at this point, they're pretty invested in it. They're coming up on Bellator 200.
Yeah, I can't believe they've already had 200 of it.
It's crazy.
I don't know, dude. It's tough for me because the whole, how everything is on TV, it's kind of like makes it seem like cheap, sort of. I don't know, like it's not on a major network. Like, if you see UFC might ink a deal with ESPN where they're gonna start fucking getting
they might split
fight
ESPN,
nights on ESPN. Like that's a big fucking move for them.
And Bellator's moving in the opposite way. You know what they're doing with the Bellator 200? It's in London. It's going to be on a damn tape delay.
Really?
How stupid is that? In the age of social media.
Yeah, because
everyone's going to know.
Someone's just going to tweet out the winners.
The whole thing's going to get spoiled.
Yeah.
We're going to see it 8 hours later. You telling me you can't live stream that on some platform?
In 2018. You can't fucking do that.
I mean,
could
they're shooting
probably
themselves in
fucking
the
do
foot.
that, dude. We could probably run our fucking shit through there, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
come on, bro.
So.
They just probably don't have the funding, dude. That's just what it seems like.
Everybody likes to talk about that Viacom money, but it's not like Viacom is giving Bellator unlimited funds. They're the
just
owners
they
of
have
the company.
funds doesn't mean
they're not Viacom.
Yeah.
They're a subsidiary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have a budget just like anybody else does. They don't have this $5 billion Viacom money that people like to throw around.
Yeah. Plus, they don't invest in this company at all. They go out and they buy big fighters, but they don't push them into the media at all. Like, they got Gegard Mousasi, who's literally, you could pretty much say that he's the number one fucking middleweight in the world right now.
He's a bad dude.
Because he's beat Chris Weidman. He was on a 6-fight win streak and left the UFC.
I couldn't believe they let him go. But that's a new UFC
I want to see him and Rory fight. I hear about that.
Rory, I heard about that.
That'd be a good fight.
Gegard's a pretty big dude, but I don't know, Rory, that weight class might be interesting. But anyway, winner of King Mo and Bader is fighting Matt Mitrione. Who's got the better shot against Matt? I'd say it's Bader, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, Bader's a bit bigger than Mo.
Yeah, fuck, man. Mitrione's just such a big motherfucker.
He's huge. Very athletic.
It's tough, man.
Can you imagine?
Like, if Chael fights Mitrione, dude, that's going to be a big fucking, big motherfucker.
Could you imagine if Chael Sonnen beats Matt Mitrione to become the Grand Prix champion and the new face of Bellator MMA with that mouth?
If he does, it's going to be just wrestling. It's going to be a just straight wrestling match at the end of the day. It's going to be Chael wrestling him and just, like, mounting him. And maybe, dude, I could see Chael, like, getting like a stoppage, TKO, but, like, not, like flatlining Matt. Like, I see him get him, like, take him down, like, ground and pound, TKO, and ends up getting, like, just, like, a ref to stop it, you know? Like, he just, like, unanswered shots, and they stop it. I could see that happen.
Yeah, Chael definitely had the wrestling advantage of a Mitrione.
And he just might topple him, because he's so big, man.
We see some, like, Randy Couture versus Tim Sylvia
Well, and here's
style.
the thing, though. Chael still has his hands in the wrestling community, so if he is going to fight Matt Mitrione, he goes into a training camp, he can bring in guys that are big as fuck, like Matt Mitrione, and have a much better wrestling background. He could just wrestle those guys for 3 months and then fight Matt Mitrione and just fucking demolish him because he's used to guys his size at that point.
That's probably the ideal scenario for Bellator.
That would be smart
to have
for
Chael
Chael.
Sonnen as their, like, the guy.
Yeah.
Because he'll go out and promote.
But
I mean, we can argue as to the effectiveness of that promotion, but
you know what's smart about Bellator here too? Because if Ryan Bader loses this still, Ryan Bader doesn't matter. Like, Ryan Bader is still light heavyweight champion, win or lose in this tournament, and he's not really holding up that division. No, there's not really a number one contender yet.
Right.
So, win or lose here, it's a win-win for Bellator because if Ryan Bader wins this shit, he's like the man in Bellator. But if he loses this shit, he's still the man at light heavyweight. There's just going to be a different heavyweight champion. It's a win-win.
It is a win-win. That's interesting the way this plays out. I like it. Probably the best thing Bellator could have done was this tournament. Yeah. You know, we'll see how it all plays out. It's going to be pretty fucking interesting, though.
Yep.
Well, we got UFC 224 coming up, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. There's one other person that was on that Bellator card we should mention.
Yeah, fuck Dillon Danis.
Right? Fuck Dillon Danis, he says.
Fuck him.
The infamous Dillon Danis had his debut
bro.
on that card. Now, I assume by cringeworthy you are talking about his out-of-cage persona.
You see him, like, almost crying in the backstage interview?
I did not.
He's like, yeah, man, I'm a fucking ninja out there. I'm ready to die. Like, dude, shut the fuck up.
I will readily admit to not paying that much attention to his outside-the-antics bullshit.
I love Conor, and I hate I don't hate Dillon Danis. I just think he's real cringeworthy at this point. I just can't stand how much he wants to be like Conor. Like, he's even, like, when he tried to go out, even during the fight, man, like, he's going out there, like, in Conor, like, stance, trying to strike, and he's eating fucking haymakers, bro. And then kind of bailed himself out with what everyone expected. pulls guard and gets a toe hold. But at the end of the day, it's like, come on, bro. You can't be calling like Ben Askren and fucking Michael Bisping and people out like that and put on performance like that and be like, I'm the fucking man now in Bellator. It's like, bro, come on. I get it.
I think
get
it's
it.
working
You have
for him.
Potential, but don't.
He definitely has potential. To me, he's like Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah.
In the fact their stand-up is pretty whack.
Don't bite
Excellent
off more than you
BJJ.
can chew, bro. Like, come on.
But with what he's doing, I mean, he's actually... Now, I agree with you. Ben Askren's going to murder him.
Ben Askren would fucking demolish
Aaron
him.
Pico's going to beat him at this stage.
Dude, he better stop that shit with Aaron Pico, because Aaron Pico will take that fucking fight at 170. He does not care. Right. He's already fought at 170, didn't he?
I'm not sure about. His first
he
fight was
moved
at
down from 55.
Yeah, he moved down, yeah.
Yeah, but he'll take that fight at 70, and he will fuck Dillon Danis up.
But this shit with Dillon Danis, you got to admit, he's got Ben Askren answering him. He's got Michael Chandler calling him out.
Yeah.
And let's talk about...
But can he really, if he were to legitimately sign for that fight...
No, he can't sign for that fight.
The hype stops there.
He can't.
The hype stops there. It's not like Conor. When Conor's calling out all these motherfuckers, he's like, let's go, and then... He beats these people.
Yeah,
Danis has no fucking chance.
Of course not, but he's 1-0. He never had an amateur MMA fight.
Which
this
is
guy
why he's
legitimately
gotta stop fucking talking.
This is why he should legitimately be on the regional scene. He's here because of his name. He shouldn't be on TV yet. So it's easy for us to criticize him because not too many people go see what a regional 0-0 fight against an 0-0 fighter looks like.
Don't get me wrong. He has world-class jiu-jitsu. But his striking is garbage.
I say his striking is where it should be for a guy who just had his first MMA fight. The problem is we're seeing it on television.
Don't go around talking shit then.
But the shit talking is blowing him up. Like, the way it's going to come into a mistake, Paul, is if he actually does book a fight against somebody.
Don't fucking fight Roy McDonald.
He needs to fight another...
Don't fucking fight any people.
Very low-level dude. Yeah. He needs to take years before he fights these guys.
He should
Dillon
switch
Danis
to the
needs
UFC.
5 or 6 fights before
switch to the UFC, fight CM Punk, Mike Jackson, and Sage Northcutt. And then he'll be all right.
He doesn't need the Sage Northcutt treatment. Like, he doesn't need to be rushed. He can keep running his mouth because it's blowing him up. Whether it's cringeworthy, whether it's cringeworthy or not, it sounds like it is. I can't pay that much attention to it.
It's just he's got the sunglasses, the fucking outfits, all the shit. It's like, bro,
everybody's talking.
Get it, man. Like, fuck, man. Yeah, everyone's talking about it.
Now,
because it's so fucking cringeworthy. It's like Colby Covington shit.
Yeah, and look what Colby
Covington. You see what he said today? Fucking Dillon Danis fucking commented today. Fuck Colby Covington.
Did he? He's getting on that.
Like, come on, bro. He's fucking same weight class as you. Switch, like, come on, Bellator.
I agree.
Let him
now,
go,
Colby,
bro.
I've heard all kinds of his shit. Some of it's getting pretty
Colby
funny.
Covington, honestly, but still, Dillon Danis.
I found his Avengers tweet pretty hilarious when he threw the NFL draft hashtag on there. That was pretty funny. But he's cringeworthy, yes. But look where it's got him now. He's fighting for the damn interim title. Everybody knows who he is.
Yeah, but guess what?
Maybe they think he's a dipshit, but it gets the people caring.
Yeah, but even at that level, Dillon Danis is not even Colby Covington, bro.
This is on Bellator to make certain that Dillon Danis does not fight anybody that he shouldn't be fighting. No. He needs to work very slowly, like he's a regional fighter.
But he needs to continue fighting people out because then you're gonna have guys who are going to say, hey, maybe he is a big draw, and maybe I will get a bunch of money if I fight him. So then they go to Scott Coker and they go, hey, man, fuck all these guys who are under me. Give fucking Dillon Danis a shot at the title. I'm going to make some money. I'm going to fuck this kid up. And then you've got people like Michael Chandler would do that. Rory McDonald would do that.
He has no business fighting those guys.
Yeah, stop this fucking bullshit you're doing, bro. It's a road that he does not need to go down at this point in his career.
We can agree on that. He does not need to fight those guys right now.
Not at all.
He needs to be nurtured along like any fighter at this level. He's not, he's not Conor coming into the UFC who was a 2-weight champion in a respectable lower tier organization.
Exactly.
He's a kid who really should be on the regional scene in New York.
Yeah.
In his first MMA fight, whose association with Conor and his amazing BJJ skills got him this spotlight.
Yeah, he's basically a coach. That
Bellator needs to fucking nurture this kid.
Yeah, it's very common when any kind of trainer or coach of any camp can kind of wiggle their way into like promotions for professional fights without really having amateur fights because they go, hey man, this, that, and the other's coach and
spar with them.
Yeah, I'm brown belt in jiu-jitsu and I've beat this guy, and this guy. And,
Well, thank
No,
God he
you're
didn't
in.
get signed to the UFC. I mean, he's nowhere near UFC level.
Yeah, no,
So
that would have been a
Bellator's
bad
where
idea.
I think even Bellator's a big step, but they got enough lower tier fighters to keep
Yeah.
him busy for a while.
Yeah, they definitely can get
We were
him
just
some
talking
good
about how
fights.
Michael Venom Page, like he keeps fighting guys that are.
Yeah, like trash.
I mean, they're good for
Danis
Bellator
still doesn't
low
want
level
Michael
fighters.
Venom Page either. Don't do that to him.
Danis
That'd be
needs
dangerous.
somebody slightly better than his last, 2-4 fight.
Yeah.
So
Screw that guy. Back to the
keep it
real
up,
shit.
Dylan. All right, next we got UFC 224 coming up, which is it's okay. There's some
It's
good
a pretty
fights.
solid card. I mean, it's
It's-
not. I'm not paying $60 for that, but more power
It's
to you if you
headlined
want
by
to.
Amanda Nunes versus Raquel Pennington.
Yeah.
Raquel's a lot better than her record indicates. She's got a 9-6 record, but she's better than that. She came into the UFC near 500, and she had a lot
She's
of
no
tough
Amanda
fights.
Nunes though.
She's tough. I think she'll do better than I think she's got a shot. I don't think she's
I
going to
don't
win.
think
I
she
think
has
she's got
a shot at all.
She's tougher than she gets credit for.
Yeah. We'll see how many punches it takes to see how tough she is.
And she's been
'Cause
working
Nunes
hard.
is gonna drop some fucking bombs on her.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Her
it's likely
defense
Nunes
is
gonna
shaky,
win.
dude. Her defense is real shaky. Nunes is known for cracking that guard with those fucking overhands like she did to Misha Tate. Misha Tate had fucking holding both hands. She was in
know.
perfect defensive position, and she still rattled her and dropped her and put her away.
She hits like a truck.
Dude, yeah.
Pennington's tough.
That's the only reason why I think Nunes has a chance against Cyborg, because she has two fucking bombs, bro.
That's the real fight right there.
Yeah,
mean-
it was supposed to be the fight, and then Pennington was like, whoa, we already signed the agreement and stuff, and was threatening to sue them, I guess. That's what I heard. I don't
We
know
might
if
get
that's
lucky
true.
and see that because there's still no contenders at 145 unless
Yeah.
Megan Anderson is
Holly
coming in and
Holm,
fighting
yeah.
Holm. On
But if Holm wins that
224
fight-
card we were or 225 card we were
Yeah.
talking about. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So I have hope for Raquel Pennington. I think it'll be a better fight than I don't think she's going to come out and be a blowout. She's a tough chick. She's got skills. She's got a shot. Ultimately, I think Nunes is going to win. As do you.
I go Nunes, TKO round 2.
Round 2.
Yep. Puts her away early.
I want to argue against that. I like Raquel Pennington. She's from my hometown, Colorado Springs. She's a good fighter. I like.
No,
rooting
don't get
for
me
her.
wrong. I definitely.
As a fan, I
respect
want her to pull off the
Pennington.
upset, but I mean,
Yeah.
I can't disagree. I mean, Amanda
Yeah.
Nunes is the shit. So
I respect Pennington. She's a good fighter, but I just feel like she's just still a part of that, like Ronda Rousey, like that whole group of fighters that was in that like step behind, like Sarah McMahon and fighters like that were like, although they're pioneers of the women's division, they were never high class at any certain aspect of fighting. They all were just scrappers. Where Nunes, Holly Holm, Valentenko, all these high level women's fighter, like Nama Yunus, even they're
Absolutely.
all high class
Very.
at one aspect of fighting. Where it's just Ronda was great at judo, but like at the end of the day, she couldn't. When she fought a high level striker, she couldn't take those blows and still get her way in, and that's just that old, just like when Chuck Liddell went out, like that whole generation of fighters,
changing of the guard.
yeah, they just eventually take over, the
These new
younger
skill
guys,
sets coming in.
younger girls.
Well, you talk about pioneers, Paul, and we've often talked about the lack of promotion by the UFC and by WME on a lot of their fighters, and this, I think, this 224 illustrates another case of that, because you've got a card headlined by not just two women fighters,
yeah,
but the two openly gay
two openly gay pioneers of
pioneers
MMA, really.
of women's sports in MMA,
Yeah.
and no one's talking about it. Has this ever happened? Has there been a professional sport headlined by two openly gay fighters or athletes ever?
No, I don't think so.
Not that I'm aware of, and yet we don't.
No one
Not
really-
we, but the UFC doesn't. I would think this is a promotion's dream. Why are they not talking about this? It's historic. It's great. They should be
Yeah.
talking about this angle.
It's just like we were talking about with Stipe Miocic. Like they could have that, like Just like how Modelo,
firefighter, for
dude,
God's
yeah, he's a
sake.
firefighter. Like
the Modelo ad.
Yeah, it's like
Modelo ad's if you haven't seen it, folks,
Yeah.
Google Stipe Miocic Modelo beer ad.
Yeah.
It's the best promotion that's ever been done
it's
for the guy.
Yeah,
by
the UFC could pick that up so easy. He's a firefighter. You know, he's an immigrant. Like he has an immigrant mentality. You know,
Seriously.
he's like family, everything. You know,
and he just happens to be a hero.
happens
Kept
to be- yeah.
kept his job as a firefighter, even
he
right
just
now.
so happens to knock every motherfucker out.
Oh yeah, he's the greatest of all time at heavyweight.
Yeah. Has the most title defenses,
We
but
talked
no, they don't talk about
Right,
it.
they don't talk. Amanda Nunes, when she was fighting
Amanda
Ronda,
Nunes,
they
yeah.
didn't mention the fact of her sexuality in that either. And it's not like she
Yeah.
hides it. She's in a relationship. Her girlfriend's right there. She's
Yep.
dating Nina I
Isn't
don't know how to
she
say
in her
Nina's
corner?
last name, but she's
Isn't she on her corner too?
yeah, she's in the corner with her. I believe Pennington's in a relationship with Tisha Torres, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm mistaken, I apologize, but
I don't know.
I'm pretty certain that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, not
It's
that this
just
needs to be
strange.
what it's all about, but this is something
Yeah.
that should be celebrated. It's historic. It's a first in sports, to my knowledge, and
Yeah.
the UFC is doing crickets about it in
Yeah.
2018. It makes no sense to me.
Well, I think it's because it's two girls.
If that's the case, that's a sad way to look at it.
It's sad, but
That is fucking
I feel like
ridiculous.
that's kind of what it is, because the UFC never really puts any kind of promotion behind any like great women's fighters in the UFC. I mean,
they got behind Ronda, but that was the Fertitas.
that's different. That's what I mean.
When WME
don't get me wrong. When the Fertitas had this shit down, they were pushing the right fighters and holding back the right people.
we're talking
and all
about
that shit.
WME.
WME
William Morris
is-
Endeavor.
I feel like they're just throwing money at it, just trying to see what happens, kind of like that.
It's bizarre.
I've heard there's like a down low thing that the Fertitas might buy the UFC back for half of what they sold it for.
I've heard of these rumors too, which would be
It would be a great business move by
that'd be
them
crazy.
because they know what to do with these guys. It's funny because WME goes to them for a lot of advice. Is what was a part of that like story that they've been going to them for a lot of advice, and they're
I've heard Lorenzo's, at least up till recently, was still a very small minority owner and like an advisor. Like he helped with the Floyd deal.
Yeah, I knew that. Which is like, dude, if they do that, they could really turn this around. Conor might fight more. You know,
I'm for it. I've been so disappointed in the WME era. It's not what I expected when you hear Hollywood talent agencies buying out the UFC. You think we're going to get all kinds of promotion.
well, you
and
know,
turn
it's
these
just a bunch
guys
of
into
blind.
stars.
Like I just said, man, it seems like a bunch of blind money just thrown at events just to see what happens.
Like a fucking beer company's doing better promotion than a fucking talent agency for their
It's
company.
terrible.
It's absurd. So UFC 224, that about wraps up Nunes Pennington, right?
Yeah, she's
So-
gonna get fucked up.
We can agree on the promotion being sad that they're missing out on
shit
a
happens.
great chance there.
Yeah.
We can agree Nunes is likely going to win, although I wish Raquel would. I think it'd be great
Yeah.
for her. But
It'd be a big upset, I'll tell you that.
we got the co-main event is pretty interesting.
Yeah, probably the number one contender fight.
It's probably the most interesting fight on the card, if you ask me.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Really, I could see one of these guys fighting Whitaker next.
We got Kelvin Gastelum versus
Kevin Gastelum versus Jacare.
Jacare.
You think Jacare is too big for Kevin? Calvin, sorry.
That is the question, because we kind of saw that a bit against Weidman. However, Weidman was rocked early. You know, Kelvin could have won that fight early.
Could have.
But ultimately, the size difference was noticeable. I mean,
Yeah,
he got
especially when we got on
manhandled.
top of him, it was rough. What, he finished with a head and arm choke, right?
Jacare is a big, jacked
Jacare
motherfucker.
is great jiu-jitsu as well, so they're going to want to have to keep it standing in this one.
Absolutely.
I heard Kelvin might go back down and fight Woodley.
I've heard
if
that
he
too.
wins
He's
this
had
fight.
these rumblings too. Well, he probably would do that, I would imagine, if he loses this fight. He may not jump right into Woodley, but he might try to get back down
I think
to
he
that
fights
170.
Whitaker and then tries to go for champ against Woodley. I don't think they
no.
would let him do that.
I
He's not. I don't think he's big enough.
Yeah, he's not.
He's too chill.
Who's Kelvin Gastelum again? To the average person,
exactly. Exactly.
Connor already had the name when they let him do that shit.
Yeah. Same thing with Holloway. Everyone knows Max Holloway.
Right.
I mean, pretty much everyone.
Pretty much. I mean, he's no Conor McGregor in the greater atmosphere,
Yeah.
but in the MMA
But he's
sphere,
big. He's big in the UFC.
He's big. He's huge in Hawaii.
Oh yeah, huge. He's like, he's almost BJ Penn level at this point.
At this point,
Like,
he
he's
has a
getting
few
there.
more title defenses. He will be.
If he would have beat Khabib,
Oh,
dude, I really wish he would have fought him.
That would have been great, man.
Oh, yeah. Kelvin's not that big yet. It's just, I don't know. I feel like even if he wins this fight, I really can't even justify him getting a shot at Whitaker. Souza, I can justify him getting another shot at Whitaker if he wins this fight. But it still holds me back thinking that he's lost to Whitaker already. Yeah, I just don't think... just like the way the middleweight division is right now, everyone's kind of beat or fought everyone. I feel like the only reason they'd give Kelvin the shot if he beats Souza is because him and Weidman are really the only ones who haven't fought Whitaker, and Weidman hasn't fought in a while. So unless Weidman can fight soon and pick up a really impressive win, I see Kelvin getting the shot next if he beats Jacare.
I could see that happening. I don't think he's going to win. I mean, I think Jacare is going to take that fight.
Yeah,
I think
it's a real tough fight for him, honestly.
It is. It's a tough fight, and I prefer Kelvin down at 170. He just needs to lay off the burritos a bit. I mean, we all know he loves his Mexican
that's
food.
why he can't make the fucking weight.
Yeah,
you know that, right?
Yeah. No, that's why I'm
literally
not.
Goes,
it's not a dig.
Because I love Mexican food so much, I can't make 170.
Right.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not digging at him.
You're a fucking professional fighter, dude.
He loves his Mexican food so much he can't make 170. It's silly. So I like him at 170. I think the success he's had at 185 is just
because he got heavy hands, dude. If he has those heavy hands at 170, he's putting motherfuckers down and he's fighting Woodley.
Yeah, it's his skill level. I mean,
Plus, I think he's a great matchup for a guy like Dos Anjos, who's the number one contender right now. With Kelvin's wrestling, Dos Anjos would not be able to take him down and really get him where he's at, and then Kelvin would knock him the fuck out, in my opinion.
Oh, my opinion too. Yeah, I think he.
It's just it's such a better weight class for him. Plus, he has such a smaller frame. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a big guy.
No, he should be at 170. Getting some, what is this here? Some Fire OG. Nice hybrid fired up here.
Yeah, I got over at the Apothecarium.
Apothecarium.
Yeah.
Fire OG. 50-50 indica sativa. Yeah. About 22% THC. That's not bad.
Fuck yeah.
So, I think Kelvin 170. I think you agree. I like Jacare in that fight, though. I think he's definitely going to win. I don't even think it's going to be that close. It's going to look like Weidman, except for he's not going to get rocked like Weidman got rocked.
Yeah.
What else we got on there? We got Dern. She's coming back, fighting Amanda Cooper.
She's fighting Cooper. That's a dangerous fight for her. I don't think she gets it done. I think Cooper gets it done, unfortunately, which kind of puts her down. But they're Sage North cutting her right now, real hard.
She better not try and punch with Amanda Cooper.
Yeah, she better just do it, Dillon.
I mean, not that Amanda's like the best fighter in the division or anything, but her
she's got legitimate stand up.
Yeah, it's light years ahead of Dern's. She needs to take this right to the mat.
Yeah.
I see a lot of parallels with her and Dillon Danis, not with their personalities, but they're inside the octagon. Yeah, although Dern has a lot more experience in MMA.
Yeah.
However, her striking is not on point at all.
Damn near amateur.
It's very cringeworthy.
Yeah.
She's going to get lit up if she keeps that shit up.
Yeah, definitely.
If she does that with Amanda Cooper, she's going to get fucked up. And in some ways, I think that might be good for her. I mean, she has a fine career ahead of her, but she can't get progressed along too fast. Like you just said, the Sage Northcutt treatment is going to fuck her up, man.
Yep. I don't know. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. She should have gone with someone. Should have had a little bit more time between fights and someone of a lower skill level.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that the fight that she won though, because it was against kind of already a lot. I don't want to say that she's not a proven UFC fighter, but her first win was against a pretty solid UFC fighter. You know,
it was
so
solid.
It kind of made her be put there as where when Sage Northcutt came in, he fought two nobodies no one's ever heard of. Where Dern fought someone people actually kind of knew her name, you know. She was on the Ultimate Fighter, you know.
But then there's a little bit of disparity in the names, you know, in the men's division versus women's. Of course, there's a lot fewer stars.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying
names known, but
she has to fight someone who has a very similar name to her because of that.
True enough, I agree with that. That about sums up that fight. I mean, I hope.
Yeah, I hope for Dern to win, but I don't see it happening.
I almost hope that she doesn't win, Not that I want to see anybody lose, but I just don't want to see her get rushed. Like, if she loses, then they're going to slow this train down a little bit.
She fights at what, 25 or 15?
I believe it's 15.
Yeah, there's some monsters.
She's 35? Oh, she's 35.
No, she might fight 125.
That's terrible. Division. Neither one of us can remember that offhand right now. Too many fights, too many fighters, too many joints. You can look it up real quick, but either way, I mean, the comparisons with Danis is one thing. She obviously has a bit more experience, but
not really though.
Not really. I mean, she has that. Not against any named opponents, but
yeah.
Checking out that weight class right now. She's fighting it at 115. Okay, she's
115.
She's smaller than I thought. Like, just killers down there. I don't want to see her get rushed.
Yeah, if she gets rushed, that's like.
If honestly, Cooper beats her, and
if she gets like an Angela Hill or something next, she's fucked.
Oh, Angela Hill would
she'll murk her.
Seriously, Angela Hill's ferocious. I like her.
Yeah.
I like. That's why I like the Ultimate Fighter. Like any fighter that's been on there.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like you know them a bit. You know?
It gives you kind of a background of where they've been. You know
absolutely. I mean? You see, they're not just some nameless fighter when they come into the UFC. You feel like you know a bit of their history.
I really like look at Rashad Evans. You know, like that launched his whole career. Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner. You know, launched their
absolutely.
Even Michael Bisping. You know,
Bisping, Diaz, a lot of names.
Gray Maynard. There's just tons and tons of guys. Tony Ferguson, T.J. Dillashaw, John Dobson. There's just the list goes on. You know,
a couple women's divisions nearly built off of those shows.
Exactly. I mean, really, the 25 is literally built off that right now. You know, the champion is still hasn't defended, and you know.
Did you hear the shit she said to Ariel? That was so fucking.
What'd she say?
That was a terrible move.
What'd she say?
Ariel made some legit comments about the UFC being frustrated at not being able to get her into a title defense. And she had recently had a tonsillectomy and some other surgery. It's got about a 14-day recovery time. It's been 6 months.
What?
And she took it as Ariel saying that she was somehow scared and went on this Instagram rant where... I can't remember the whole thing, but I mean, she told Ariel shit like to go stick his tongue up a fat man's ass.
Jesus.
Like, just overboard crazy shit that he was a terrible journalist, didn't know his job, didn't know shit, and a lot of just insults along the line of sticking your tongue up a fat man's ass.
Valentina Shevchenko,
which is a pretty shitty look.
Destroy her. That's why she's scared to fucking get that title shot.
Yeah, not that many people watch Tough. This is her first introduction to, the UFC, and I don't think that's the fucking way you want to start off, because she's getting soundly rebuked by journalists because Ariel didn't attack her. Like, it wasn't an attack.
Paige VanZant's officially a part of that division too. I forgot. There's actually some pretty solid girls from both the bantamweight and strawweight that are mixed in here.
Well, just to be clear with this thing with Nico, like, she can say whatever she wants, but Ariel, it was just real journalistic reporting. There was no attack there. There was nothing against her. Yeah. It was an out of line, ridiculous reaction. Like, she's obviously very sensitive. Ariel's invited her on the show. She won't go on.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. I mean, she can say whatever you want, but I think it was a fucking pretty bad look.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to blow up on people.
Not with comments like that over somebody who didn't attack you at all.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't even close.
Reporting what happened.
Yeah, it's literally making a journalistic report. And it's not just any journalist. It's the most recognized one in MMA. You know. But anyways... She needs her PR work a little bit better, I would say, and let's hope she signs that bout here, and we can get her against Shevchenko,
so she can get
that'll be
her
fucking
the
awesome.
fuck up.
Hey, back to 224. We got one fight on there that I guess you like. I don't. It's
a legendary goodbye fight. I hope both these guys knock each other the fuck out at the same time. I hope that it goes Fedor versus Matt Mitrione, and they just knock each other.
Tell the people who we're talking about.
Vitor versus Machida.
Vitor Belfort versus Lyoto Machida.
I hope it's a double retirement match.
I hope it's a double retirement match too.
Here. They drink each other's piss on, and then they ride off in the sunset.
Oh, they probably will. Folks, if you don't know, we're not just being disgusting.
USADA doesn't fucking test them because they drink their own piss. So.
Lyoto Machida gets up every morning and drinks a hot steaming cup of his own pee.
Yeah, that's fucking disgusting. And
that's
it's
legit. You can look it up. It's.
He drinks his own piss.
I've never been able to look at him the same ever since I heard that.
Dude, that's why he has so much velocity on his kicks.
It's the secret sauce?
Yeah, dude. He's got extra spring in his step.
You know, that's what he says. He says it's like a vaccine.
Gross.
I was reading up on it.
Disgusting.
Him and Verdum drank each other's pee.
It's like on dodgeball.
We're not making this up, folks. We're not fucking high making up crazy stories.
This is 100%.
This is legit.
Yeah. Like
Fabricio Verdum and Lyoto Machida each took a piss, and then swapped cups, and then drank it.
Look it up. It's on YouTube.
Lyoto Machida, his father did it. It was they believe it's a healthy thing to do. Sorry, I'm stammering. I'm still shocked. Like I say these words, and I just can't fucking believe it. So yeah, Lyoto Machida drinks his own pee, and I, unlike some people, can't get past that. He's a great fighter. He's past his prime. I wish he'd retire, go to Bellator, join the Legends Tour over there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't want to see him in the UFC after this.
Yeah.
And please stop putting out videos of you drinking pee.
I don't want to see either of these guys after this.
No,
they both
I'm over Vitor. I'm over Lyoto. I'm especially over Vitor. I mean, I'm half joking about the Lyoto Machida thing because it's funny. But a guy drinking his own pee every day. But
isn't this Vitor's last fight in his contract?
Yeah, it's the last contract Vitor's got. He's not going to retire. He's probably going to go to Risen, where I kind of want to see testosterone-fueled Vitor again. TRT Vitor. I don't know if he's got that in him anymore. But if he did that, I'd be interested.
I don't think he would.
Oh, if Jesus would allow that. He's kind of...
He's all Jesus now, dude.
He's pretty... He might just want to retire and be the family guy. Who knows?
He might, hopefully. I really want that for him, dude.
I think he should retire.
He's been in the game too long.
Dude, he's put his heart into so many fights. Entertained his fans for years. It's time to go.
Yeah, I can't watch him get knocked out again. Just like we were talking about before, like Chuck, Rashad, all these guys. I just don't like watching them get knocked out anymore. It's too much, man. It's too much.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And then moving on, what's the next fight we got on there? The last kind of good fight, I would say.
Actually, pretty good, like middle of the ranking scrap.
John Lineker,
Brian Kelleher. That's Brian Kelleher kind of just hopped on the scene with that domination of Renan Barão.
Yeah, he's still unranked, and of course Lineker is ranked, but this fight's a lot closer than rankings aren't anything. He's unranked because he just jumped on the scene, like you said, fucking up Renan Barão like that, and jumping into a Lineker fight. God damn, he wins this. Whew.
That's a good couple of wins to have on your fucking.
Well, he's gonna get his chin tested, obviously with Hands of Stone.
For sure. Is he ranked at all?
No, he's completely unranked still. I believe Lineker's 4th or 5th.
It's a good step up. It's 6.
Lineker 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the bullshit UFC rankings, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, Kelleher's unranked, but I think he's got a good chance in this fight. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's a toss-up. I don't know who wins this. Who do you like? And I don't think we know enough about Brian to know. I mean,
I think the only way Kelleher gets the nod is if he just keeps that volume that he had against Barão. If he just keeps that volume going, he might frustrate Lineker. That's kind of like how I thought John Dobson beat Lineker.
Oh, so did I.
And I think he's going to do something very similar to what John Dobson did, which is just like exchange and always throw like the reason why I think he won too is because at the end of every exchange, Dobson was hitting him with a hard punch on the end of the exchange. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if Kelleher kind of follows that same game plan, doesn't just bang in the middle, but kind of just resets, gets his shots, takes a couple, but then just keeps coming, I think he can end up beating Lineker. Kind of how TJ Dillashaw beat him, TJ Dillashaw just stood in the pocket, just like kind of just dodged everything he had.
Yep.
Hit him with a couple more. I think maybe a takedown or two will get him the job done too. Lineker's not going to stay down for sure because he's pretty tough on bottom. He's good at getting back to his feet. But I feel like a couple takedowns could win him some key rounds in this fight.
Definitely.
So I'll take Kelleher by decision. Split.
I'd like to see that, but I think Lineker's going to get the KO probably round 2.
Could be fight of the night.
It could very well be.
Because those guys
for sure.
throw.
It's going to be a great fight.
For sure.
I can't fucking wait.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite fights on the card outside of the co-main event.
Yeah, definitely.
And that about wraps it up as far as like fights that I find interesting on 224. I mean,
it's kind of a weak pay-per-view.
It's kind of a weak pay-per-view. Absolutely.
Maybe they're just waiting because 225 is going to be big.
225.
Man, I wish 225 was in Vegas, man.
No, man, me too. We'd be there.
When's our next Vegas event?
It's coming up Fight Week. I think it's the big push.
That's the next one?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain.
That's terrible.
The 225 coming up, of course, headlined by 185 championship, return of Robert Whittaker versus the not interim champion Romero, even though he won that fight. What's the next Vegas event?
Oh, shit, dude. Is this at the Palms?
Which one is it? So people know? Yeah, the Ultimate Fighter finale. Yeah, July Fight Week. That's the first of Fight Week at the Palms. So we got to hit that up. That's a great venue. Folks listening and have never been to the Palms, it's a pretty awesome venue. It's small. It's about 5,000.
That should be hella dope.
Yep. My daughter and I went to,
we should go to that shit,
one of the tough events there. We went to the weigh-ins, which was pretty cool because when you go to the weigh-ins at the Palms, you're about 3 feet away from the fighters.
Yeah.
Instead of like weigh-ins at MGM.
Yeah, MGM
where
far.
You're up in the stands.
Yeah.
Up in the seats. It's a little bit different.
I like the one that's there in the ballrooms where they like when we went to the one we were both there. We didn't go together, but the Conor versus Poirier. I like that. I
like the ballrooms a bit too. I sat right behind Tony Ferguson at that one, which was kind of cool.
That's badass.
Yeah, that was fun. It's a lot smaller in person. I heard he gets so big in between fights, but he wasn't thin. But
so basically, what we should do is we should go to that fight on Friday, and then go to the weigh-ins on, go to that.
Absolutely, 100%. Well, before we get to Fight Week, we do have UFC 225 coming up, which we were just talking about, headlined with the return of Robert Whittaker from the worst case of staph I have seen in a while. Staph infection in his stomach.
Oh, rough.
Yeah, it's terrible. That's what sidelined him for so long.
And then Romero coming off of just a starching of Luke Rockhold.
Yes, where he would have been the interim championship, but for the fact that he missed weight, so was ineligible. But I'm happy with that.
To be honest, I didn't want to see another interim champion, so I'm perfectly fine with that.
Tired of the interim championships.
And Romero even said that too. He said, "I don't really care about an interim title."
Oh, thank God. It was meaningless bullshit, anyways.
Just make sure you make your fucking weight this time, motherfucker.
Yeah, Christ Almighty, make weight.
Jesus.
So, but that's a hell of a fight.
Although,
I mean, we've already got
rematch, honestly.
It's a rematch.
In the first fight, Whittaker was real tough early, but then tend to fade late. And Romero's had round 5. He was coming alive. He was really catching his stride, and that's really strange of Romero because everyone knows him as more of a guy who explodes at the beginning and fades late. But he really was catching his stride in round 4 and 5, I thought.
Well, I think it's going to be even more decisive than the first one. Bobby Knuckles, I think, is going to come out and school him.
I don't think so. I think this is Romero's time, dude.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Almost Romero,
41 years old.
And then, I don't know, dude, because it kind of the way he was talking about it, I don't know if you guys haven't seen, I would suggest going to watch him on JRE, but he talks about it there that he's like, man, I can only do this for so long. My body's aching all the time.
Yes.
What if he wins this title and just walks away from the game?
He could very well. That was a great podcast, by the way, on Joe Rogan. Him, Joey Diaz, and Yoel Romero.
Yeah, it's a great one. You gotta listen to it.
Imagine if we got him in his prime in MMA.
Dude.
It would be amazing.
He's a physical specimen.
Fucking 40, almost 41 out there doing this. It's incredible, but...
Whittaker's a young guy, too, so it's
Whittaker's young, 25. He already won the first fight. I think he's going to win this one even more decisive. I think Romero wins it by decision. Split decision. That'd be amazing. I set up a trilogy fight, but if Romero stuck around. I don't want to see it. I don't
see him sticking around because Romero's not a guy who really fights for money. He kind of fights for legacy, and his legacy is going to be, if he wins, the only Cuban champion ever, so I kind of think he would be perfectly fine with walking away with that title. You know what I mean?
Could very well. Well, you're picking Romero. I'm picking Whitaker.
Yeah.
Got some other great fights
Agree
on
to
there.
disagree.
I like the next fight. I just don't like the interim title attached to it.
I honestly don't like anything about this next fight. I think this is extremely one-sided. I think it should not be for an interim championship. And I really don't think Colby Covington deserves this chance. I think Dos Anjos is going to win in devastating fashion.
That would be something.
Because, dude, I hate to do this to him, but he fucking mauled Robbie Lawler. Fucking destroyed him.
There's no denying that.
It's
that
like...
was painful to watch as a Robbie
It's
Lawler
hurt.
fan.
Yeah, like, fuck, man.
Damn.
That was rough. Dos Anjos is something else at 170. But, like I said, the only person I could see really beating him, Dos Anjos, is Kelvin Gastelum if he were to cut down. But we'll see.
I think Dos Anjos is likely to win. I think if Covington does, good Lord, that kid. With his cringeworthy antics, although some of his stuff is funny,
man.
he's getting a little bit better.
Yeah, but I'm
if
scared.
he beats him,
I'm scared to see the shit talk
that'd be
he does with
interesting.
Woodley, just because Covington sometimes goes a little racist, and I don't want to see that.
I don't
at
know.
all.
No, none of us want to see that.
Because he does say some racist ass shit about Brazilian people, dude. It's like they're fucking animals and like shit like that.
I think it's
Come
more
on, dude.
xenophobic.
Like what the fuck
But
are you doing, bro?
I don't know. I don't find it that different than what Chael did. I mean, remember when Chael was...
No,
he was
because
saying the
Chael-
Nogueira brothers didn't know the difference. They thought the bus was an elephant and trying to feed it carrots. I mean, Christ almighty, you know.
Yeah, but Chael was like jokingly with it. Covington is not jokingly at all. He's just like rude. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't.
I don't know the guy at all. I'm not trying to defend him. I don't know. Maybe I
Just
try
from
to
obviously,
hope
I
it's
don't
not
know
racist
him either.
related.
But fucking
Like, I really
from
hope
an
it's not.
outside look, it's pretty fucked up. Some of the shit he says.
If he beats
like
Dos
how-
Anjos,
Dude, he has no fucking chance. I'm sorry.
I don't think he does either.
You beat fucking
He beat
you
Maya.
beat Damian Maya, who can't strike for shit.
His striking
Has
does
the
not look
least
good in
strikes
that.
in UFC history in a title fight.
Colby's striking looked pretty whack.
Yeah,
I mean, it was not on Dos Anjos level, that's for sure.
it's gonna be a beatdown.
I wish there
epic
was
proportions.
not another interim title.
He's gonna Khabib him. That's what he's gonna happen.
The
And
interim
then
title
there's
gives
going to
me
be a
headache.
bunch of hype. I don't think Tyron Woodley wants that fight, honestly. I think Dos Anjos will beat Woodley, too.
That I disagree with. I don't think Dos Anjos. He's too small.
Nah, I think he's got Woodley in the bag.
Woodley's way too fucking strong.
Think so?
He'd knock his ass out. I think Woodley's a bad motherfucker.
Maybe.
I find his whining annoying. I wish he would stop. But he's
Maybe.
a bad dude. Man, he's a badass.
Maybe.
I think he could put to sleep
The only problem I see with that, with Dos Anjos,
Eddie Alvarez.
Eddie Alvarez style, that's
Mhm.
that's the only way I could see him losing that fight. But, who knows?
You don't want to try that.
Dos
shit.
Anjos has some pretty good performances at welterweight right now.
He does. There's no denying that. If he manhandles the number, I mean, Colby's rated number 3
What
right
I
now.
hate about
believe.
this fight too, though, is like now what do you do with the winner of say Colby Covington legitimately wins this fight? You cannot give Colby Covington does not deserve a title shot, bro. Like,
Well, they
come
have to give it to him
on.
at that point. He'd be 6-0 in the UFC. Beat the number. What was Maya ranked? Beat number 3,
3.
and then beats a
Yeah,
surging
but
Dos
okay,
Anjos. You can't deny it. I
Dos
mean,
Anjos is what?
hate to
Second?
shit talk or what, but
No. This is the only
yeah,
thing.
but Dos Anjos is still new to the division.
Yeah, but I hate to say it, but if Darren Till beats Wonderboy, I think Darren Till deserves a fight for the title over Colby
You
Covington.
think they do Darren Till versus Covington?
No, I think they do Darren Till versus Woodley because I don't think Colby Covington deserves a fucking title shot for fighting Dos Anjos. I don't think so.
And if Till beats Wonderboy, especially if he beats him,
In like epic fashion,
I think he's the Uncrowned champ.
because then
For
how the fuck do you say that he doesn't? fucking Wonder Boy put the champ on his back too.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of it boils down to that fight. No denying that.
Stephen Thompson and freaking Tom Woodley had two like epic fights, pretty much. The second one was kind of a snoozer, but the first one was like just such a back and forth battle. That ends up in a draw.
Well, that's one we're definitely looking forward to.
Yeah. So then, how do you tell Darren Till that he's ranked 8? I get that, but
he'll beat
8 beats 1.
Mm-hmm.
Dos Anjos and Covington are 2 and 3.
Yeah, but I don't think that 1 really counts. I mean, that's he's officially 1, but he just lost to the champ twice, and you're still the fucking number 1 contender. That's a flawed ranking.
Yeah,
system.
it really
should be. The 2 and 3 should be 1 and 2.
The only reason why that is because at the time Jorge Masvidal was number 4, and then he beat Jorge Masvidal after, so he was 2, and then he beat Jorge Masvidal, who was 4, and then he was back at 1.
Wow.
Because Robbie Lawler was 1.
Mm-hmm. But again, Robbie Lawler was number 1 because he just lost.
Yeah.
And for some reason in MMA rankings, anytime you lose to the champion, you go from being the number 1 contender, you lose, and then you're still the number 1 contender.
You see that Jeremy
you
Stevens,
should fall 2 or 3
Jose
spots.
Aldo got finalized?
I did.
That's even a good fight.
We have some other interesting fights on there past
this
one here.
Man.
You know, there's one I want to talk about. Let's stay in the welterweight division for a second. We've got a really super important fight. I mean, the uncrowned champion, right? I mean,
the Underground King, CM Punk.
CM Punk making his return to the octagon.
It's his fucking tryout for Mayweather, dude. It's his Mayweather audition.
His Mayweather audition against Mike Jackson. Now, I like this fight for Mike Jackson.
I don't.
Who's a journalist, part-time MMA fighter. He should get paid for this. Mike Jackson lost to CM Punk, right? Or I'm sorry, CM Punk and Mickey Gall.
They both did.
Right, they both did. So they share that in common. So the fight makes a little bit of sense.
Balls.
Air quotes if you're listening on iTunes.
Dude, I've never seen someone look so rough from getting beat that quick as CM Punk, dude. Like, you have like cauliflower ear after his first fight, dude.
Look, I respect what CM Punk's trying.
Up.
I respect what he's trying, but he doesn't belong in the fucking UFC.
Sorry. Get him out of here.
I don't want to see this fight. I
can't believe it's on the main card. He's gonna get probably paid $1 million for this fight.
He's getting at least $500,000 because that's what he got last fight.
Yeah.
And he's probably gonna get some kind of fucking pay-per-view points because I'm pretty certain he was a good boost to that last card he was on.
Yep. Well, what it is he's got the name. That's in the WME era. If you have a name, then you are getting paid.
It pisses me off. And I mean, again, fucking kudos to him, dude. You're a man.
Yeah,
you're going out there, you're getting a cage, and you're fighting high-level dudes.
I can never hate on a man for getting his money. At the end of the day, get your money. But
this is on the UFC.
Yeah, the UFC is fucking stupid.
Fucking lame.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Good on these guys for trying. I wish this was, in Legacy or something.
Yeah, this would be a good fight.
On fucking Fight Pass.
Yeah.
Then we'd be probably
be a
lauding
good fight
this
in
fight.
Cage Warriors.
Fucking Mike Jackson, CM Punk on Fight Pass in Legacy. We'd be talking about this is great.
It's a tough enough
good for these guys
event right there.
So yeah, all sarcasm aside, we got Curtis Blades versus
Alistair Overeem.
I like this fight for Curtis Blades.
Yeah, I don't know. Overeem, it's kind of a do or die time now. You just got knocked out. Like, you got your head knocked off by Ngannou.
I think Overeem needs to lose and then bounce
2 in
over
a
to
row?
Bellator.
You lose to Stipe, you lost to Ngannou. You can't lose 3 in a row losing to Blades. It's going to be tough because then who really are you going to fight then?
Blades is legit.
What is he going to fight? Wardum? Like, who legitimately else can he fight after this if he has 3 losses?
I don't know where his contract is at, but he could very well get cut, I think, because he fucking gets paid a lot.
A lot. I mean, but really, does he, though, get cut? Because anybody with any kind of familiar name right now in the UFC, unless your contract is up, you're not getting cut.
I don't know. I'd rather see him. I'd like him in Bellator.
Going.
He could bounce right into the Grand Prix as an alternate or some shit.
Yeah. Or they just like...
Because I think Curtis Blades is going to win.
This drawing another bracket part.
Curtis Blades has been turned down.
It's a bye to the finals. It's a 3-man fight. That's some Bellator shit right there.
Either way, I think he'd make a good addition to their roster.
For real,
or
he
even
would.
in Risen, come out Uber Ream style again.
Well, just look at it as like a Strikeforce thing, you know. Overeem was a beast in Strikeforce, you know. So it really just kind of goes back to Bellator kind of have. Although, don't get me wrong, Strikeforce had a great heavyweight division, but Bellator is kind of gonna have like the rejects of like Strikeforce. It's kind of what they
Right.
have, you know.
It's true, but it's good for them. It's good. Makes good for number 2.
Yeah.
But I like that fight. I think Blades is likely going to win.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a great fight for the
Overeem
card.
versus
It's going to be
Bobby
highly
Lashley.
entertaining.
Yeah. For real.
You know, we've got a few number 1 contender fights actually on this card.
And it's strange where they're located on the card.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of hidden in there.
Like, what's the Fight Pass opener? Is it not?
Well, it's not the Fight Pass
It's not
opener,
the Fight
but
Pass. It's the
Fox
prelim,
Sports
the
1
Fox Sports
opener.
1 opener, which is
It's
still a low
Pettis
place.
versus Joseph Benavidez.
Oh, that's a very likely number 1 contender
Very
fight.
likely.
What, number
Because
1 versus number
Benavidez,
5?
How much longer can you deny Benavidez at this point?
He wins this fight. You can't. He's earned it.
Yeah.
Give the man his title shot.
And at the same time, with Pettis, how do you deny him if he were to beat Benavidez?
Absolutely, that's legit. I love that fight. I think
Yeah.
it gives a legit fight, a legit contender for DJ.
DJ when he comes back, which who knows when he'll come back. So even if this is a war, maybe that's even better because then it gives him a chance to heal up, gives these guys a chance to heal up, and then we have a hell of a fight
Right.
for the title, you know.
Because I don't want Cejudo to get that fight again so soon. I'd rather the winner of this fight get it.
It's just tough for me because I honestly, in my eyes, I thought Benavidez lost to Cejudo. I thought that was a robbery, man. Robbery. And then it's like, but at the
I can't disagree.
same time, you had to still give it to him because he got the win. Benavidez, you can't deny him. And it's like, it's tough, man. Because maybe if Pettis wins, maybe you don't give him the title shot and you end up giving Cejudo a title shot. But if Benavidez wins, you cannot give Cejudo that title shot at all.
No, I agree. I'd like to see the winner of this fight get it, and then
We'll see
Cejudo
what
can either
happens
fight
there.
again or come into that. We've got a couple others. We've got Carla Esparza versus
Yeah,
Claudia
Carlos
Gadelha.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
It's a possible challenger for Rose.
gonna
She's
be
got that
good.
history with Carla. Now, Carla's ranked a little bit lower. She's 6th right now. Claudia is ranked 3rd, I believe, in that division. But if she were to win, she's got that history with Rose.
Yep.
She beat her that first time.
Was that for the first ever title?
That was coming off the Tough show. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I know. So now Rose has been in 3 title fights now?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah, she lost that title shot
So she's 2-1.
Carla. But Rose is a
Rose is a whole different
level
game
now.
now. Yeah.
Carla has not progressed at the level that Rose has.
Who really knows, though? Because Carla Esparza has not fought very much.
She's
At
been
all.
quiet.
Very quiet. Ever since, like, when she got beat. Don't get me wrong, though. There's a reason why she went quiet. Joanna demolished her. Joanna, that was almost embarrassing, man. That was bad.
Yeah.
It
That
was like
borderline uncomfortable.
Yeah,
she got fucked up.
She got fucking dominated. It was nasty, man. So it's like, now this is kind of her coming back, and you look at it that, yeah, Joanna beat Claudia twice, but Claudia had 2 real close fights with Joanna. So if Carla has not progressed at all, she's in for a rough night.
Very.
This could end quick.
Mm-hmm. It
You
could
know?
very well. Then we've got, I was surprised.
But I could
Joanna-
be wrong,
We're about to find out. That's what makes it yet another good fight on a stacked card. And finally, yet another likely number 1 contender fight. It's
But it
kind of
shouldn't
crazy
be.
as it is.
As crazy as it is, Holly Holm is still the number 1 contender.
Holly Holm versus Megan Anderson. Now, folks listening, if you don't know who Megan Anderson is, she's the current Invicta featherweight champion.
Yeah, she's kind of a beast.
She's coming back from a layoff for an unknown reason. It was just personal reasons were cited. She was scheduled to fight Cyborg, actually. Or not scheduled. I don't think they ever signed about
Yeah, I
but
don't think
they were
did, but
going to.
They were talking about it.
And then whatever
She-
happened.
Well, no, and then I was reading today also that she was going to fight Kat Zingano. And now, last minute, they gave her Holly Holm, and she signed the bout sheet for Holly Holm. Strange ways how these fucking bout sheets turn out, man. It's so strange when you see that in, like, MMA, because it's like, you never really know who to believe, you know what I mean? Like, we saw this week also.
Right.
Justin Poirier, Eddie Alvarez has 24 hours to sign the bout sheet, or he's gonna keep running from me. And it's like, is he, or did he really ever tell them that he wasn't gonna fight you? Or
Eddie is saying
thing,
he's
you know,
not going to
like,
fight again until he gets a new contract. Period. He doesn't
Yeah.
care who it is.
So
And
it's
that's
like,
not running from somebody.
same thing here. It's like Cyborg probably will fight the winner of this fight, but if it's Holly Holm, I really don't see her fighting her.
No, I love Holly Holm. I don't understand how she's the number one contender. She's basically the number one contender in two
She's
divisions.
won two of her last, 5?
Right. It's
rough.
I mean, mostly that's due to the shallowness of the women's quote-unquote featherweight division, because it's not really
She did get robbed, though, with that Durandame fight.
Yeah, she got robbed. Too many shots after the bell. That was some bullshit. Yeah. But, it's no diss at Holly, but I don't know. But it is, Megan's unranked, but she's coming in as a champion in the only really legit 145-pound division
in women's fighting.
Yeah. So she's for real. It should be a good fight. I'm interested in it.
Hey, tell me if I'm wrong, but does the UFC still own Invicta?
Yes, they do. They own Invicta.
Why don't they just absorb the 145 division from Invicta to the UFC?
I believe it's because they feel it's going to do too much damage to Invicta, which wants to maintain itself as like a beacon for women's fighting.
I don't understand that, though.
I could be wrong. That's I don't have any insider info on that. It's just what I've read, I think.
Because you're at the highest level when you're in the UFC. You can make all those women that are low level in Invicta, where people only really watch it on Fight Pass and shit like that. It's like you could really push a lot of those chicks like Megan Anderson and stuff that they don't know.
I wish they would. I don't understand. A lot of our discussions on this shit fucking circles back to why does WME not promoting these fucking people?
They have so much money, but there just doesn't seem like they're putting it in the right place. It's stupid.
It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. But that is basically another title, number one contender shot.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a long night for Holly Holm.
It could be. I haven't seen a lot of Megan Anderson fights, but I know she's legit. She's got skills. And she comes in and beats Holly Holm. Coming in as the Invicta champ, does a hell of a statement. Set up an exciting fight with Chris Cyborg.
It's going to be a long night for her.
It would be nice to see Cyborg fight somebody that's not another blown up 135-pounder. Megan Anderson's legit featherweight.
Legit 145, yeah.
I'm rooting. I love Holly Holm, but I'm rooting for Anderson. I'd like to see this go down that way. I think it'd be good for MMA, for women's MMA, for the featherweight division, which I talk a lot of shit about it. So do you, because it's a fake division.
Yeah.
But this would be pretty helpful if we get another legit fighter in there.
Yeah.
So, on top of that, we got some other interesting fights. We talked about it a bit earlier. Let's talk about Rashad.
Yeah, Rashad, Anthony Smith. I think it's going to... It's tough for me, man, because it's Rashad back at 205 now. Mm-hmm. And is he really built back up to 205? Or is he just not going to cut to 185 anymore? That's the question.
This fight makes me sad. I like Rashad. I don't want to see him get knocked out.
Walk away.
Just please. He's got a great career behind the desk. I think.
Just walk away, bro.
I love fucking fighting, and I just don't like see guys past their prime. They keep getting knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like if you're somewhat competitive and you go down to a lower level like Bellator, and you're not getting KO'd.
Yeah.
Okay, but I just do what you want. It's their fucking bodies, but
level,
I don't like watching it, man.
It's rough.
I felt that way about Dan Henderson too. You see
Randy
these guys.
Couture at the end too.
It's like, fuck.
When he fought Lesnar, I was like, what the fuck is Randy Couture doing fighting Lesnar?
Seriously. So, I want Rashad to lose because I don't want him to keep fighting. I don't want him to get knocked
win
out.
So he's okay with letting it go.
Or if he could win and then retire, that would be great. I just don't want him to keep fighting ultimately, and I don't want him to get knocked out.
Yeah,
I really respect him.
Yeah, I think we're at the same level on this. So really, the only other fight that's really big on this card is Mirsad Bektic versus Ricardo Lamas. Ricardo Lamas coming off getting KO'd by Josh Emmett. Bektic, was his last fight when he got subbed by who was it? Darren Elkins. Is that his last fight?
This is his last fight to my knowledge.
That was a fucking crazy one, man. He was whooping Darren Elkins'
Tell
ass.
Elkins.
He was
coming back.
raw.
Savage.
Right.
What a streak he's on. Has he got a fight lined up soon, I think, too? Either way, that's going to be a good fight, though.
Yeah, I think it's gonna have to.
You know, coming off that.
It's gonna be big for Mirsad Bektik to win this fight. Okay, wait. No, he beat some nobody after. He had pretty much a tune-up KO performance of the night. So.
Well, good. It's
Coming
nice to
off
see
a
somebody
win.
getting a tune-up.
Yeah.
UFC needs to do more of that.
But now Ricardo Lamas is a serious fight. Ricardo Lamas is no slouch. You
Absolutely.
can't fall asleep on that guy. But he is one of those guys, though, who's a little on the older side of things. You know, he's...
It's hard to know when a fighter's going to hit that wall, you know. But either way, it should be a good fight.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think it's going to tell us a lot about either fighter, depending on how it goes, obviously.
It all goes back to this kind of like bunched up crazy featherweight division, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of guys that need to fight each other in this division, you know. Like, there's a lot of guys who haven't fought each other yet. Like, just because that division before was so like 4 fighters controlled it, you know. Like, it was like, and well, what people aren't talking about at all too. Now we're throwing the freaking Chad Mendes back into this now that he's cleared his suspension.
Back, yes. Interesting to see who he fights.
This whole division, I feel like no one's really fought anyone now.
We got Frankie asking for the winner of Ortega Holloway.
Yeah,
which I'd like to see if it's Holloway.
Yeah, I just don't know if he'd get that at this point.
I think they would.
If it's Ortega again,
I don't think they'll do it if it's Ortega. If Holloway wins, I think they'll do it, and I'd like it. I'd like to see the fight. You know, Frankie didn't have to take that fight against Bryant. He did it to save a card, so to speak. Ortega, I think they should go a different way if he wins.
Yeah.
And depending on how he wins, I hope they don't do the immediate rematch unless it's some close bullshit. But if he goes out there and, quickly subs
so now we
Holloway,
pretty much have the number 1 contender fight too with Aldo and Stevens.
Mm-hmm. They're sitting there. I mean, how do you?
But if Max Holloway is still the champion, Jose Aldo does not get a third shot.
No. But imagine if we get Ortega versus Stevens,
or we get Ortega versus Aldo.
Oh, I like Ortega Aldo too. I like that.
It's a good fight.
We got some interesting. I like that division. You know, that's turning into the premier division against. Maybe not
I'm
premier,
telling you, man.
but it's usually 155 is the most talented.
45, 55, and
45
70 right now are probably the best they've ever been.
You got fighters that can bounce around a lot too in those weight classes,
Yep.
which is pretty exciting.
Oh yeah. Like we were talking about, Connor was talking about having an interim fight with Dos Anjos at 70.
I know if he hadn't gotten that bus incident, if you folks hadn't heard, UFC said during a recent press conference that it had been on the table at that New York event where the bus attack, as it's called, went down with Connor, that they were going to propose he fight Dos Anjos for the interim title instead of Colby Covington. And there's some who say that that's why Covington is getting it and it's still an interim title because he had already agreed to fight Connor for it. And so he's still getting it. He's still getting his interim title shot just because Connor fucked it up. That UFC hasn't come out and said that, but that makes sense to me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, as much shit as I like to talk about it, I can see where they were trying to do something special that got fucked up. Dos Anjos had already signed a bout agreement. There you go.
Yep. And then also, yeah, man, there's just like those 3 weight classes are all like now everyone's starting to fight again too, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now Connor's probably coming back. I don't know if you've heard, but now they're talking Nate Diaz is gonna fight in August or something like that.
I've heard these rumors. Dana's shooting him down, but you can't believe shit that Dana says.
Yeah, Dana turned down that Brock Lesnar was coming back also, and kicked
Dana
Ariel
be Dana.
Helwani out because he leaked it, And it's like we've got so many like young guns going too, like Kevin Lee, Eddie Alvarez, Dustin Poirier, like all these guys that are just like all want that title.
Kevin Lee's asking for that Nate Diaz fight. I don't think Diaz will take it. He don't want it. I don't mean he don't want it like he's scared. I don't like that matchup.
Poirier to take that fight. That'd be a great fight.
I like that fight. I think Diaz is. I don't think Kevin Lee has a big enough name to be fighting Nate Diaz. In Nate Diaz's mind,
Maybe
that's
like
100%
Edson
what I
Barboza.
think. I'd like to see Justin Gaethje, Nate Diaz personally. That
I don't
fucking
know
thought
if
of that
Gaethje
fight
can
makes me
do
happy.
that, man.
I know Gaethje's got some pretty good leg kicks, man,
Yeah, but Gaethje was.
and he's got wrestling chops he doesn't use.
Yeah, but
man, they
what
could
does
just
that
stand
do
and
for
fucking
Nate
bang.
Diaz, though? What does that
Not
do
a
for
lot,
Nate
'cause he
Diaz?
just lost
He just
two
lost
fights.
2 fights in a row.
That's why I don't think it'll happen either, because
Yeah.
it boils down to Gaethje's not a big enough name in Nate Diaz.
I think Eddie
viewpoint.
Alvarez, Nate Diaz makes it.
They got history.
They got history of talking shit.
The
Fuck
Gilbert
you.
Melendez fight.
Remember that? Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Nate Diaz, Khabib. No, fuck that.
No, he wouldn't take that.
I think he would. I think he would actually give Khabib a lot of trouble.
I'd love to see it. I don't think it would happen, though.
Yeah, I don't either.
There would be outrage. What's Nate ranked right now? 8?
8.
That's
Well,
pretty
what
high
if,
for somebody
let's
who hasn't
say,
fought in 2
okay,
years.
well, no, let's go here.
Fought a welterweight last.
Let's go here. Let's just do this. Let's say Connor doesn't. Let's say Connor gets in some legal trouble. You know, like this shit ends up going south, and he's can't fight for like a year. All right.
Oh, say it ain't
So
so.
if you throw Nate Diaz back into the mix, it makes everything work because then you have kind of a 4-man tournament to see who fights Khabib.
That would be
You
dope.
know, you have Eddie Alvarez, Nate Diaz, Kevin Lee, and Dustin Poirier.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Kevin Lee and Dustin Poirier fight. You have Eddie Alvarez, Nate Diaz fight. Then the winners fight each other, and then by then Khabib will want to fight again because he's got Ramadan. He's taking off till he said November or something like that. So he wants to fight MSG. So, which is another thing. Connor's never probably ever fight in New York again because of his
strawberry
legal trouble.
cloth.
Yeah.
Nice brass knuckle
Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
good.
I mean,
on that mod.
I'd like Nate Diaz versus Eddie Alvarez. Plus, that gives him a second to give Eddie Alvarez all the negotiations and all that bullshit. You know.
Eddie deserves it, and he's sounding like he's not gonna budge on that. So
Well, what the fuck is he stupid? He should have done it when he fought Connor. Why the fuck did he accept normal
Remember
show
what-
money when he fought Connor? You're fucking stupid.
Connor was telling him that in the press
like, yeah, he's
conferences.
like, "You're
remember?
dumb."
He was like, "Oh, I don't give a fuck about money."
I don't give a fuck about money. It's
Dude.
about legacy. Then you got your fucking piece up, dog. Oh my god, I was like a straight, like outclass, man.
That was one of the finest performances in MMA. Period.
Oh, dude,
People
yeah,
just
that was rough. That was a rough.
when Connor
night.
said after that fight he didn't belong in here with me, he wasn't talking shit. That
Yeah, I
was
wasn't
for
talking
real.
shit. He was just being
He
legit.
didn't. The skill level there. God, I wish Connor would come back. What the fuck,
Yeah,
Connor?
man, it hurts.
And your stupid fucking,
Fuck
stupid
that shit.
fucking throwing the dolly. God damn it.
Yep. But yeah, definitely Nate Diaz going back in this shakes things up, man.
I like it. I hope it happens. Especially if he gets on that LA card, that'd be pretty sick. But
Yeah.
I'm not real hopeful that it does. But the longer that
I wanted him to fight at 209, dudes.
that would have been dope. But
That would have been perfect.
the problem is the longer that he waits, the less relevant he becomes. I mean,
Definitely.
it's time to take some action, but it's got to be the right fight for him.
You think he waits around, maybe fights Tony Ferguson? Him and Tony Ferguson kind of had some back and forth.
It'd be a good fight too, but
How long do you think Ferguson's out, though? Because when we were talking about it before, what we didn't take into account is it disconnected from the bone. So they had to reattach it to the bone. So it's different from just tearing it.
I read like 9 months.
I don't think Nate
it could
Diaz
be
waits
next
that
year.
long, man.
No, he could fight Connor in fucking 9 months.
I don't think UFC hands him that fight unless he wins another fight.
I don't think so either. I love both those guys. I don't want to see that fight yet. There's better fights for both of them. For Connor, at least, for now.
Well, even if Connor's thrown in the mix, you let Connor and Khabib fight, and then you still have that 4-man fight each other away. And
I like that. I
then
hope
you
the
have a
UFC
fighter-
does something.
Then you have a winner to fight Connor or Khabib, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Honestly, Kevin Lee, he's got probably, if no one else, if they just give one of these guys a title shot, I'd say Kevin Lee probably deserves it the most, man.
I'd like to see it.
After that fucking performance against...
It was impressive as hell. I'd like to see him
Except
get
he
it.
had that little chicken
Especially
dance.
if everybody's tied up. You know, Ferguson's is out.
Dude, I was surprised how
Connor's
mature
out.
he was with that. When he got wheel kicked and he just somehow kept it going and double-legged him with his fucking chicken legs, dude.
I always thought he had skills, but when he did that, man, you want to
he
talk
has
about
heart, bro.
high, and he's got high-level instincts. That's somebody who's been, as you would attest to, been wrestling for years.
Yeah.
To be able
that's
to
all
maintain
instinct.
that reaction after getting fucking
yeah, for
wobbled
sure.
like
Wobbled.
that, right into a takedown and getting it. It was
Outstanding.
really impressive. Like,
He's got talent, man, and he's only 25.
yeah, he's
Dude,
got a fucking future,
holy
man.
Shit.
Kevin Lee's legit.
Legit.
He had a great appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast too, on his MMA.
I don't know if he's already gone through the growing pains, but I feel like there's a chance that if he ends up fighting a Khabib or a Conor, he can end up going through some of those growing pains, being a younger
still
guy,
early.
handling a championship fight again. But he's,
I agree.
like you just said, it's still early in his career.
He's early. He's the future though, for
Yeah,
sure. He's
he's-
fucking 25.
As it
Hella
looks
skill.
right now. Yeah.
He's got good mic skills. He's a likable dude.
Yep. And his game is ever evolving, yo. He's every
Sort of
time you
seen-
see him fight, it's something different in his game just looks so much better. You know?
I would agree. It sure seems like it.
He's having a hard time making the weight. That's the only thing that scares me about him. It's the only thing.
Especially as he gets older, he's going to get heavier. you
Yeah.
know. So we'll see. He might eventually have to go to 170, but for now, see what happens, right?
Yeah, definitely. All right,
All right.
I guess that about does it, guys.
That's right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hope you enjoyed
you.
today's show. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Hit
Like, subscribe, follow on iTunes.
Absolutely.
Hit our website, swatmmma.com. All that shit.
We'd like to give another thanks out to our sponsor for today's show. That's CryptoCrewNex.com. Give them a look. Pick up a shirt. Support your favorite cryptocurrency at the same time. We're going to keep smoking on this distillate. Maybe a little bit more of this super sour diesel we got here.
Fuck yeah.
Peace out, everybody.
Later.